Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Texas Wedding Podcast. Random podcast announcement. I've never really looked into analytics before about who's listening, what platforms they're listening on. After some conversations, I realized it might be worth it to say I'm posting these full podcasts to 3 different places. So a majority of y'all are listening on Apple Podcasts, which beautiful. That's great. The thing with Apple Podcasts right now is it doesn't have any video at all. And I know sometimes in this podcast, we use visuals. We're talking about an image on the screen. So the second most popular option is Spotify, which does right now support video. So if you don't know the difference between the two and you've been listening to Apple Podcasts, but you'd love to have the video you can look down and see as you're listening to it, try it on Spotify because it does have the video. It does have the visuals you can look down. And the last one's on YouTube. If you don't want Spotify and you want the visuals, pop over to YouTube. It's in all 3 places. It's great. Well, actually just announced recently that they are adding video to their podcast platform. So if you are like, I'm an Apple podcaster for life, don't worry. They will roll it out in the next couple months. You can hold tight if you want to. But if you're ready to jump ship, you want visuals, check out Spotify or YouTube if you're listening to this. But okay, let's get into it. Because I promised at the very beginning of this podcast I'd do it, and it's finally happening. Our guest this week is Monica Millington, who is one of our former clients, one of my former clients from just this past year, who had the most insane Fredericksburg wedding. If you follow me at all, I'm sure you've seen her content all over. But this is our first client guest, which I am so excited about. I was reminded when talking to her about how much you can learn from someone with a different perspective. A lot of times the wedding industry can be such an echo chamber where you kind of hear the same things over and over and over again because we're just in these tight circles and we're following each other on social and this person said it and it did well and so this person says it and it just kind of repeats. I love talking to Monica because she's not in that world, but she has such valuable insight for us as we are building businesses to serve Monica and other brides and grooms just like her. Quick roadmap. What's going to look like. Monica and her husband, Tom, have the most insane story of how they met over the course of 14 years, how they fell in love from 2 different countries. So I forced her to rehash the whole thing. That's the whole beginning. I promise it's not fake. I've heard it from friends and family. I've seen the picture evidence. It's real. It's real. You'll want to listen to it. Then we get into wedding planning. We get into everything, all the juicy tidbits that vendors want to know. We get into how she narrowed down locations, what she was looking for in a venue, why she picked the venue she did, how she got connected with her planner, what really won her over for that, advice for other clients on how they should be picking planners, how they should be picking vendors. We get into specifics, like what were specific splurges she was going for. We get into photo and video. Why was it that she hired the photo and video teams that she did? All sorts of information that I think is going to be so valuable for anyone in the industry. The next part might be my favorite section because Monica shares something she's been working on behind the scenes that I am so excited for. I can't promise this. I think this is the first time she's announced it publicly. Let's just say the next chapter of Monica's bridal fashion journey is going to be a really good one. And she tells us all about it. And last, we get to hear just straight from Monica of things she'd do differently, things she'd change, things she went differently, advice for other brides and grooms going through it. This is a really good episode. This is the kind of perspective we need to hear that's going to help you a lot, that we all need more advice and time from Monica. So let's get into it. I'm not going to waste any more time. This is this week's episode of the Texas Wedding Podcast.
I say if you don't like this music, you don't be listening to it, you know I'm just a dude that you know, or something similar. If you don't keep it real, then you go somewhere but here, cause you know we're only losing control just for a minute.
The Monica show now. You're going to regret ever inviting me on this.
It's always been the Monica show. We just didn't know it yet.
Exactly. You didn't know what you're getting yourself into.
Oh my gosh. How are you?
Pregnant.
Oh my gosh. Pregnant. 3rd trimester now?
Almost, yeah. I think I've got like 1 more week till I'm officially in the 3rd trimester, but I've definitely been feeling it for a while. But
yes,
at least I'm like, okay, 2/3 down, 1 more to go. So.
Oh my gosh. You got this. The home stretch. How's it been for you? Have you been feeling sick?
Oh gosh, yeah, like for 19 weeks, it was awful, which is like
No.
not great, but I feel like it's as normal as a tired toddler mom can be right now,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm just taking the good with it now, but I don't know, I
Oh
think
my gosh.
the newborn stage is easier than being pregnant, I think, so I'm just kind of like, "Okay, it's only gonna get better once this is all done," so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And my
and then
kids are a little older than yours,
yeah.
and it just gets better, like, every stage, you know? Older
Definitely.
toddler's more fun than young toddler, which is more fun than
Exactly.
babies.
Yeah. Cruz is like almost 3.5 now, and he is like so fun and hilarious. And it's just,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, when you get sad about one stage ending, it's like the next stage is just so fun. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Cruz's
good.
little babbling conversations he was having at your wedding was my favorite. It made me so
I've
happy.
watched
It was
that
so
video like
sweet.
1,000 times. It's one of my favorite things ever.
It's so sweet.
It's such a cutie pie.
Well, thank you for doing this. It's still so bizarre to me that you're on the other side of the world. Does that get normal? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I
I'm
feel like it
really used
has
to
to.
the time because I'm FaceTiming someone from my family like at least every other day. So
Yeah.
I've just gotten so used to the time warp, and then if I ever have to do any business calls with the US, it's always at, the crack of dawn or late at night, so
Oh my gosh,
kinda
yeah.
just used to I think if maybe we lived in Texas, we might have, like, a slightly more normal schedule, but we've just the whole time we've lived out here, we've been, like, night owls, early birds operating at all crazy hours of the day, so
My
it is what
gosh, I bet.
yeah,
I bet.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for doing this. The time warp and everything, pregnancy, toddler running around. I'm
Now
really
he's
excited
at
about
school, we're
this. Let's jump into it. I want
gonna
to dish about everything. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Monica Millington. I'm a Texas fashion designer and lifestyle content creator living in Singapore. Thanks to a crazy love story, which I'm sure Kevin and I are going to get into at some point. Um, but after 8 years of marriage with my wonderful living abroad for those 8 years, having a toddler, we finally decided to renew our vows in October of 2025. And so that was kind of like how I got back into the wedding industry and met Kevin and my wonderful and we got like this crazy experience of getting to plan a destination wedding from across the world in my actual home. So it was this crazy, fun, wild experience. And the wedding was so good that I left with a very permanent souvenir, and we've got baby number 2 coming in July.
The fact that it took me this long to realize, yeah, we're looking about 9
Yep,
months.
it's bang on. Pun intended.
Uh, everyone's dream gift 9 months after
Yeah.
their wedding. You're living the dream. My
Yeah.
gosh. The fact that this hasn't registered for me, that I didn't put these
Yeah,
dots together.
yeah.
Well, here we are.
Catch up,
Welcome to the
Kevin, come on.
podcast. Well, incredible. I we have so much to dive into, but
Yeah.
first I want to just take a second. Can we start diving into how you and Tom actually met?
Yeah, so I'm waiting for my Hallmark movie of the story, but I'll give you the consolidated version because it's got so many twists and turns in it,
Which I
but
feel like I need to preface it. I almost didn't believe this until it was like said for the
I
third or
still
fourth
don't
or fifth
believe it
time in the
sometimes.
speeches. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, this is real. What's
I
coming?
feel like
And
you and Krista had to hear it from our guests to be like, "Oh, this actually happened."
yeah,
Yeah,
for
to
real.
make
No,
it
it's
up for a
like
good
that
story.
feels like, and then I saw the pictures of it, and okay, let's get into it. Yes, it
Okay,
took me a
so
minute. This is real. What's
setting the
happening right
scene.
now?
So just set the scene. It's 2005 in Mexico. Me and my sister, I had just gotten my braces off. My sister had not. That plays in my favor later. So we are walking through the lobby, and there is a very tall, gorgeous guy, looks about the same age as us. And we think we're Mary Kate and Ashley. So we are like, holiday boyfriend, here we go. That's him. We're going to find him later. And so we get down to the pool later, getting our cute little bikinis, and we're swimming around, and I see him like floating on a little pool floaty. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, Sophie, that's him. And so I, being the older sister, again, she had braces, I didn't. So odds were in my favor for this one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I swim up to him and I kind of bump into his raft and I'm like, oh, sorry. Hi, I'm Monica. And he pops up and he's like, oh, hello, I'm Tom. And I was like, oh my God, you're British. And so
The accent, of course.
it. I was sold after that. Not that I wasn't sold before, but we started chatting and got on. It was like, oh, say bottle. And so we were like playing with the British accent. That was really exciting for me as the first probably British person I'd ever met in my entire life. And so we have this holiday romance. And like, I think the first day, it's like we kind of have this little group of friends. There's some flirting. And then the next night, I think our curfew was like 10 p.m. or something like that. We were 14.
Yeah.
And so we're like strolling the beach at night alone, which that was a big deal for a 14-year-old back in the day.
Yeah.
So we get some alone time and he finally makes a move and kisses me. And it was very exciting. And
oh my
we
gosh,
spent the whole
Tom.
rest of the week just sneaking away from our parents and kissing and trying to stay out past 10 p.m. So that basically was the whole week. And we were like just head over heels, obsessed with each other. And mind you, this is 2005. Social media does not exist. Maybe MySpace. I think there's a bit of MySpace and that is
Barely,
it.
maybe
There's
barely.
no international phone plans. Everything's roaming. So we exchange emails and addresses and we have this teary goodbye. And there's this picture, that my parents took of us. And I remember being so embarrassed. I was like, Mom, stop. And I'm like, thank God you embarrassed me and took that picture because that was like all over our wedding.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Kind of thought I would never
Speaking
see
of, is this the picture you shared with me?
No, we have 3 pictures. That was one from one of the beach nights. Yes. There we
There
go.
it is.
That I believe was the first kiss night.
Woof. Who is this cropped out right on the side? Is this your brother?
No, that was part of our group of friends, but they didn't make the cut because we didn't keep up with them. And then we parted ways. And remember, like, the world was much smaller back then. Like, you did not travel internationally regularly. Like, in my mind, I don't know, going overseas might be a once-in-a-lifetime kind of trip.
Yeah, of course.
That was not really on my radar at all. It was goodbye forever. And then a few months later, Facebook comes out. And so we connect on Facebook. So we have a slightly easier ways to chat. And then smartphones slowly start becoming a thing over the years. So we can play on apps together and chat a little. So we did our very best to keep up. We actually, which is kind of nice that we have that era that we connected in because we sent each other gifts, mix CDs, letters, cards. So we have
my
all
gosh, for years.
We both kept everything. And we weren't telling each other like how obsessed with each other we were. We were just secretly obsessing and hoarding all of the gifts and cards from each other. So
I think your mom used the word shrine in her
shrine.
speech.
There was a
Tom shrine.
I'm not joking. I made a collage of him in my room and it hung there for about 13 years. Like boyfriends saw this shrine. We're like, who is this guy in your room? I was like, oh, that's my British boyfriend. So
it's Tom, Mexico. Touch my leg. No big deal.
Yeah, he kept a CD that I had sent him in his car that had our picture on it and hearts and it said, I love you. And all of his girlfriends would look at it and be like, who is this? Like, get rid of it.
This isn't okay.
Yeah, he stopped one girlfriend from throwing it out of the car. So, like, it was a thing. So we were very...
How has this not already happened?
And so we were able to keep tabs on each other and we were able to kind of keep track of each other's values and life trajectory and what they were up to and what they looked like and what friends they kept. So I think we kind of always knew we had this foundation of similar values and humor.
Yeah.
And also he grew up to look pretty good as well. So that puberty.
Yeah, he did.
Well, yeah, he's a handsome boy. And
he kept the accent too.
Yeah, the accent helps. Yeah. So that goes on for a few more years, just Facebook messages here and there. How are you? How's life? And then 2016 comes around and it's my birthday. He always messaged me on my birthday. And he just got a little bit braver this year and just kind of reached out. We were talking and talking and talking and our messages got longer and longer. He asked me if I wanted to FaceTime. We ended up FaceTiming and that FaceTime, first of all, ended up being 3 or 4 hours. We both ended up missing plans we had later that day.
Gosh.
And then within the first 15 minutes, he kind of slipped up and just said, by the way, you're my first love and I never fell out of love with you. I'm still in love with you. And I was like, okay. And then it kind of came out, I'm still in love with you too. And I was like, I didn't even realize that I was going to say that. Oh my God. And so that conversation.
Within 15 minutes.
Right? Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, my family thought I was unhinged, but that's a different story. But we very quickly decided that we wanted to see each other again. And so he had been living out in Singapore for a few years now. And so long story short, I was like, well, I'll come visit and see what it's like. And in the meantime, I was doing some traveling around and I was going to see some friends and go to Bali, go to Thailand. So I kind of
Yeah.
arranged a trip that was supposed to be 3 weeks long. That was supposed to be my big Asia trip. And I was like, no
Fun.
expectations. I don't know what this is going to look like. And I went out there and I ended the trip with him. And I was supposed to have a couple days with him. Essentially, every few days, I ended up changing my flight. And I stayed for a month longer than I was supposed to because we didn't want to say goodbye. And so by the end of it, I came back to Texas engaged and telling my family I was getting married and moving to Singapore. So that's how I got to Singapore. We did end up eloping when I moved out to Singapore. And so
Monica,
that
no, don't just pause. This is like 14 years after Mexico at this point. Is that right?
Yes, this
And
is
you're like
2016.
playing as if this isn't unhinged. Like your family's crazy for thinking you're unhinged at this moment. You went to visit him and you came back a month later than expected with a ring on your finger.
Yeah, no, there was no ring. He didn't even have a ring. He's just there's one now. But
Just a verbal proposal and
I kind of
acceptance.
so actually he didn't propose. He said, "We're getting married. When would you like to get married?" And so I was just sitting there. The way he was a broker back in the day, so he's really good at negotiations. So he played it very well, but it was just, "We're getting married. When would you like to get married?" And I was like, instead of thinking, "Oh
Which
my
is
God,"
like him saying that knowing Tom. I feel like people will listen to this and think that he's like, who is this man that like kidnapped you and bullied you into this? This is so horrible. Like,
I know we need a Tom cameo at some point so everyone knows he's like just the sweetest, most
let me
gentle.
like bring this picture back up. This is
Yeah,
like
yeah. Look at how sweet he is.
the essence of this boy still survived 14 years later. I feel like that
Exactly.
just
Yeah,
needs
that's him.
to be shared. Okay.
So yeah, he'd said, so in my mind, I was just like, okay, August is busy. September, I can move out to Singapore. So I was like, October. And so that was how he asked me to marry him. And then I just remember the next morning at breakfast and I was like, are we engaged? And he was like, yeah, you just agreed to marry me. And I was like, I don't think you asked me. And so I made him ask me. Then we did call his parents. I needed to wait till I got home to tell my parents in person so that they knew I wasn't being like held hostage or something.
Yeah.
So we called his parents.
I think the right choice. Yeah.
Yeah. So we played it well, I think. Well, now everything's good because we've been married for 8.5 years.
Look where you are now. Yeah.
Look where
Baby
we are
number
now.
2 on the way.
Yeah,
You played it well.
there was definitely group chats about me though from the university. Oh my gosh, people are like, what is this crazy
What
person doing?
happened to Monica?
Monica
Oh my gosh.
okay?
Not to mention, there had to be a family group chat that you weren't involved in.
You know that
Is
was one of the
Monica
situations
okay?
where the group chat started spiraling off, and I wasn't involved in any of them.
No. How are we going to
Yeah.
stop this? Who's this
Yeah,
Tom
yeah,
guy? What do we
exactly.
really know about him?
Yeah, unfortunately, if you know me, there's not really much you can do to stop me once I have an idea. So yeah, I think the people really close to me kind of knew that it was a moot point trying to convince me otherwise. And then the second people started meeting Tom, people were like, okay, this makes a lot of
He's
sense.
great.
Yeah. Oh, he's better than you. You better keep him. Yeah.
Move faster. Yeah, speed this up,
exactly.
Monica. You're not
Yeah.
moving fast enough all of a sudden. Oh my
So that's
gosh.
Singapore, and that's why we felt this like excitement about renewing our vows. Not because we felt we need to renew our vows by any means, but we had
Yeah.
this gorgeous intimate elopement, which was so special because we just got to really focus on the excitement of being married, which I do think in this day and age that can get so easily skipped, where people get so caught up in the production of things. Because as we both know, there's so many things that can go into weddings and they can get so complicated and busy. The pressure can build to the point where you can very easily lose sight of what's important if you're not really, really heavily focused on it. So
Yeah.
we got the little gift of this elopement where it was just love and marriage and commitment. And we got to dance on a rooftop and drink champagne, and there was no planning or anything. And then we had that. And then after we had, again, because of our circumstances, we lived in Asia. He's from the UK and I'm from Texas. We had 8 years to build up our community together. So we had 8 years to build up our friendship group in Singapore, also have our son and me meet his friends and vice versa and love each other's families. So by the time we were able to do a big, huge party, we were so ingrained in each other's lives that that was the right time for us. But I kind of feel like we got this awesome gift where we got to do both, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love how you said that,
Yeah.
like,
And I was way
together
more
in
cool back
marriage.
then. Like, I bought my dress off the rack at Saks. It was $100 on sale.
Different than the dress you
Different.
wore to your
I have
wedding, which
changed. I
we
will
will
be
get
the
into.
first to admit it. I'm a different person now.
8 years, life change. It would
Yeah,
be
it's
sad if you
growth, you
didn't
know?
change over 8 years,
Exactly.
right?
It'd be boring if I was the same.
For real, for real.
Yeah.
So y'all are now 8 years in, decide, okay, it's finally time. Like the stars are aligned. Let's plan this dream Texas wedding we've always talked about. Am I right? Was it like a continuing conversation and like now it's time, or what did that conversation look like?
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing is I was never really super motivated to do it because I was like, our elopement was great. Like, all of our friends are getting married. My sister was getting married in 2023. We had all these, like, exciting weddings to be a part of and go to,
Yeah.
destination weddings. Everything's destination for us because we live in Singapore.
Yeah.
So, it was going back to Europe, going back to the UK, Texas, California for weddings, and so we kind of were just our minds weren't there, but our friends didn't forget. Because when we eloped, all of our friends are like, "What the hell? Like, you guys didn't throw a party," especially, like, Tom's friends just didn't think Tom would ever elope, and then they were like, "We want the party, we want all the fun
Yeah.
stuff." And so we kept saying, "We'll do it later. We'll renew our vows down the line," and kind of at the beginning, it was like, "Oh, in 1 to 2 years, we'll do it." And then 1 to 2 years, we didn't really wanna do it, and then COVID hit. And then you have the whole COVID catch-up weddings, babies. I mean, everyone was kind of catching up on life once the world opened back up, and so
Yeah.
we were so busy with our friends. Every summer was 3 to 4 destination weddings, and so we were like, We can't just plug ourselves in here." Like, we're the old married couple now in our friendship. We can't just be like, "By the way, we want a wedding too." Right, and then I got pregnant, and I had my son, and then you were kinda talking about baby number 2, and I was like, I was like, "We're young and hot. We're in our early 30s now. This is the time." And so the time
It's never gonna be better than this.
it's never gonna get better than this. And so I was like, "Okay, before baby number 2, all of our friends and family have had the weddings that they need to have right now." Our calendar was open for about 2 years. And so we're like, "This, I think, is our time. This is our, our safe zone where we can actually do
Yeah.
something. We'll be willing and excited to travel." And so that's kind of how we clocked onto the idea and decided to actually move forward with it. And like I said, my sister got married in 2023 in the Texas Hill Country. And she had known Krista from TCU, and
Uh,
Krista is a
Fun.
freaking superstar, obviously, and everyone at the wedding was like, "Who is this wedding planner?" And so we asked my sister afterwards, and I was like, "What do you think about us renewing?" Like, we've been wanting to renew. She knows we've been wanting to renew our vows for forever. And I was
Yeah.
like, "What do you think about us using Krista?" She's like, "If you don't use Krista, I'd be mad. Krista's the best. You have to use her." And so that's how we got the conversations going. And Krista's such a go-getter that we just kind of said, like, "We have this idea. We kind of think October at some point because that's when we first got married."
Yeah.
And so she's really the one that, like, got the ball rolling and gave us the date and helped us find a location. And she kind of just took it and ran with it. And we just kind of
Oh,
had to
I
present.
love it. I love it. Okay, because I got roped in a little bit after this. We'll get to that. But
Yeah.
with Chris, I didn't know this like early part of the story, which is one
Mhm.
thing. I reached out to a couple friends and people who listen to the podcast to be like, hey, we're talking to our first like bride, my first
Mhm.
former client on the podcast. And that was one of the things people wanted to know is like, hey, you're engaged. Yours is a different story. You got engaged 8 years beforehand, but like
Mhm.
it's go time to plan a wedding. What's step one? Like, was it ChatGPT? Was it this or that? And so incredible. Your sister's
Yeah.
wedding planner, you
Yeah.
loved, you reached out right
Mhm.
away. Krista's amazing and just ran with it completely from
Yeah.
there.
I would say if you wanna unless you wanna host some, like, intimate backyard, whatever, or you're going to Italy in this self-contained venue where they do everything for you and you're not fussy about the flowers and the invitations, the first step is to hire a wedding planner. That was one of the top best and second best investment being videography, obviously. But first best
Yeah.
investment was the planner because, well, first of all, definitely destination wedding, I think you must have a planner, but even if we were based in Texas and doing all this, just the amount of weight she carried,
Yeah.
I'm absolutely blown away by the level of service and the amount of knowledge she was able to bring to the table and just industry expertise stuff. And I'll tell you later, I've been in the wedding industry and I understand it all. I still like the greatest luxury in the world was having another expert allow you to be a bride throughout the process. And
Yeah.
you're not like a worker bee trying to get everything done all the time. I mean, there's definite times where it's full on, but allowing someone else to carry like the less pleasant parts of the work and someone that just knows how to do it and can get it done quickly and efficiently,
Yeah.
one of the greatest luxuries.
Incredible that you had such a good connection with such an incredible planner. Like, there's a
Mhm.
reason she was the first person to come on the podcast.
Oh,
I
yeah.
absolutely love Krista.
Mhm.
Would you suggest to other people the same thing of like, you went through family, but would you suggest going through friends and family, like someone who's actually worked with the person to find that planner?
Oh, yeah.
Or would you suggest like, oh, that worked for me, but I don't know, try ChatGPT, like try this or that?
Yeah.
Or for you, is this
Like
the way it should be done?
I have had friends who have had all different experiences. I've had friends who have gotten the most celebrity wedding planner for their area, paid top dollar, and had some of the worst experiences I've ever heard of, like appalling experiences, no matter how much they paid, no matter how prestigious the planner was. I think you have to have, first of all, if you can get Krista, get Krista. She's busy, but if you can get her, this is my biggest plug for her because
Yeah.
that was what made the day. Krista literally saved
Yeah.
the wedding. She saved everything. She made everything as like extravagant and incredible as it could have been. Impressive, just special. Anyways, she is the best. So if you can't get Krista, go through a personal referral because you want to know that someone else has had an incredible experience because they are the person that are with you on the most special, important, emotional day of your entire life. And do you want to leave that up to chance with someone that might have an ego or a bad attitude?
Yeah.
Um, no.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So well put. And I mean, she's with you on the wedding day, but your planner's also with you, like emailing, talking, phone calls, like daily for months beforehand,
And the
sometimes
wedding
year
week,
plus
like,
beforehand.
she was literally, like, in the bedroom with me and Tom in the morning while we're waking up. She's like, "Good morning. Here's today's updates." So it's like you wanna love that person and be really comfortable because it was literally like, "Get out of bed, Monica." And I'm like, trying to come back to life after 17 margaritas the night before. Like, you want to be comfortable with that person.
Which makes Krista sound really aggressive, but anyone who knows
You
Monica
need an
knows
aggressive wedding planner. You
Monica
need
needs
someone. Yeah, you need someone
someone
that's
to
gonna
help her
get
get along in the
everyone
day.
in the right place at the right time, that's gonna, put the drunk uncle in the corner. Like, you need someone that's brave enough to do the hard jobs.
Which is such a random side tangent. I
Mhm.
appreciate that on your wedding weekend, you and Tom were self-aware enough to know, like, hey, us and our friends and our family, we're late to everything. Like, just know that. We're gonna be blunt
Yeah,
beforehand.
yeah,
This is how it is. It's
uh,
gonna happen. So
exactly.
hurry us along, but it's still gonna be late anyways, just so everyone knows.
Like, wedding ceremony, I was like, everyone invitation says 4. Everyone knows it's gonna be closer to 5 because it's Tom and Monica's wedding.
This is no secret. This is again like the vendors I asked were like so interested in this part of your process for
Mhm.
planning the wedding. You get connect with Krista, like the ball is rolling. You knew the general area you wanted to be in. Like did you know that you wanted to be at Contigo Ranch? Did you know you just wanted it to be near Boot Ranch? Like when it comes to the venue, was there any searching around? Or did you go into it knowing where you wanted to get married?
Yeah, we had an idea because we own property at Boot Ranch. We've spent a lot of time there as a family, so it's kind of like outside Fredericksburg in the hill country, like, and it feels a lot more country, which is really cool. And I think that's kind of the
Yeah.
experience we knew we wanted to bring to
Yeah.
all of us because they were coming from like almost every country in Europe, Australia, Asia. I mean, literally all over the world. And so that was like they've all seen big cities. Like it did not interest me to have it in town or have it in Dallas or anything like that. We would like the idea of going to like a destination in Tuscany in Italy. That's super foreign and exciting and different for us.
Yeah.
And the Texas countryside is that for them. And so that's the experience we wanted to bring. So we knew it had to feel like a ranch. It had to feel very rustic and authentic. But again, for my aesthetic, I was like, I don't want it to be in a barn necessarily. I don't want it to have a dirt floor necessarily.
Yes.
Find ways to elevate this. So
Yeah.
Cantiga was one of the very few venues that was actually out on a big bunch of land that was an actual ranch. And it still had this like really authentic Texas feel, but it was like, it just felt really ethereal and beautiful.
More.
It was like a
Yeah.
meadow with wildflowers and a view. It was just,
And
and
the
it didn't feel like
longhorns, and
a
they follow you
Kentucky King
around.
venue. Yeah. And so I just didn't want it to, honestly, I didn't want it to feel like a basic wedding venue. I wanted it to feel like a ranch that we had a wedding at.
I love it. You found it. Okay, and then as it moved along the process, a lot of the people listening to this podcast are photo and video,
Mhm.
which it's like maybe weird for you to talk about with video on the call with you. But when it came to like photo and video, what did that hiring process look like? Did you look at
Mhm.
multiple photographers? I've had Gracie on, so everyone, if they're listening in, knows Gracie as they should.
Yeah.
Did you look at multiple options? Was I the first person you talked to and you hired? Can you kind of talk through that with
No, we
photo and video?
looked at lots and lots of people. I looked at loads of people on Instagram first to kind of see what aesthetic I was looking for. Again, I kind of wanted it to feel like candid editorial. Like I wanted the quality to
Yeah.
be editorial, but I also didn't want things to feel overly stuffy or posed or like we had the wedding to be a photo shoot. For me, it was
Yeah.
about capturing candid moments beautifully and artistically. Um, and so I knew that the quality needed to be top notch, but I also knew that like there are some really beautiful photographers who have like huge followings that I was really interested in at first, but like upon looking at their portfolios, it was very clear that it was strategically posed for editorial
Mm.
pitching and that their whole goal was to get into Vogue or to get into the wedding publications, which is great,
Yeah.
but that was not my main goal. That would have been like
Yeah.
a cool thing to have. However, I was like, I am in content creation. I am a fashion designer. I know what photo shoots are like. So I can look at these pictures and understand the time and effort that had to go into creating these. And the wedding day just goes by so quickly. I was like, I can think of anything worse than forcing my husband to pose for pictures when all of his best friends and family are from the UK and Australia and Asia, and they're all in one room, and I'm making him take pictures. Um,
Yeah.
enough of his life is already like that. It's taking pictures of me. So I'm not going to force his wedding day to be all like that too. So that was really important for me that it wasn't like a whole curated photo shoot day. It's just someone that had the ability to capture beautiful moments while they were
Yeah.
happening. And so that was also taken into account. And so we ended up narrowing it down to 3 people for each one, photography and videography. And we had 3 calls, and I would say it wasn't even a conversation when all 3 calls were done. I knew exactly that it was gonna be you and Gracie. There was no like, "Oh, well, let's just see what this person's like," or, "Let's talk to both and see if we can talk pricing." It was like, "Nope,
Yeah.
it's Kevin and Gracie." Like, I knew exactly from the conversations, which also was a really important part because there are certain people that maybe their work was great, their price was okay, like, I didn't necessarily vibe in the same way, and I was like, this is someone that's gonna be, like, in my zone on the most important weekend of my entire life. Like, I need
Yeah.
someone that's, like, willing to take on this whole production and Tom and Monica's crazy schedule and our toddler and, like, everything. I was like, I need someone that, like, will feel like part of the crowd, will feel like part of the family there. And so, yeah, you and Gracie were just, like, the easiest choices.
Yeah. That is such incredibly high praise because I
Mhm.
love you and Tom, and all of your friends just felt like family immediately.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've never asked you that question. Thanks for sharing
Oh,
that. That's
but that's
really
true. That's really how
encouraging.
Tim and I felt about it, and we, on the honeymoon, recapping the wedding and talking about all of our favorite things, and we were just like, "Oh, this was amazing. Oh, this is amazing." And we were saying, like I was like, "How good was Kevin?" He was just there, like, he was in the dance crowd, and it just felt so, like, natural. It wasn't like some, like, awkward production crew in the middle of everything.
No, no.
And so Gracie was so warm. And then, me having like a near panic attack on the morning of the wedding and y'all knowing when to be in my space and out of my space. Like it was so perfect.
Y'all made it so easy for us. So thank you for saying that. That means the world. What I remember from that call, one of the such a funny memory. I've known Tom for like 5 minutes at this point, and you and I both went to Baylor, and I
Yeah.
still live in Waco. We've settled down here. And Tom, I mentioned that I went to Baylor and like we briefly overlapped, you and I there, and Tom says
Yeah.
something along the lines of yeah, the school's great, but that town it's in is just awful. He's like, well, where do you live? And I'm like, well, I live in that town. It's like
Waco
5 minutes into the call.
It is one of the happiest places on earth if you have the love for it. He just doesn't get it.
We need to convince him eventually. And it's
The British don't understand university culture. They don't have school pride. It's not the same. He doesn't get it. It's a cultural thing.
It's one of my life goals to win him over eventually, because I do love Waco at this point. So I'll convince Tom somehow. One day we'll get him
The problem is I take him to Waco. I'm like, look, Scruffs, isn't it amazing? And he's like, the dingy dive bar with the gravel floor. I'm like, isn't it beautiful?
They let me in when I was 19. It was so fun. Like, we sang karaoke.
Steve Madden patent pumps in the gravel, shredding my shoes, wearing a bandage skirt and a crop top at literally like the dingiest dive bar that I've ever seen in my entire life.
Gosh.
And then across the way, Shorty's Pizza Shack for like a $5 pizza fold. Yeah, it was.
How does he not love that? How does he not see the magic in this?
I don't get it.
Come on, Tom.
Be enlightened.
As you were going into wedding planning, hiring vendors, making decisions, that whole process, did you go in knowing there were going to be specific splurges of like, well, these things are really important to me and this is what I'm going to splurge on? What did those financial decisions look like for y'all?
Yeah.
And also, I didn't warn you about this. So if you're like, God, I don't want to answer that.
No, this is a good question, and people should learn from me. I went in knowing there's certain things that I wanted to splurge on, like namely planner, video and photo, flowers to an extent. I think we wanted to find the balance of like value. It's like we knew flowers were an expense, but we knew we wanted to have them. We didn't want to scrimp in that area. But we were also kind of like trying to be practical. It's like, hey, we don't need like these exotic orchids. We can just use like local flowers. But then, of course, my vision is like flowers everywhere. So I would say Krista kept asking what our budget was, and we're just like, within reason. They're like, we want the good stuff within reason. And so that was kind of mantra through the whole thing, which obviously with weddings, like that can get out of control. And funny side story, learn from me, learn from my mistakes. Tom's like a trader, so he's super busy at all hours of the day with work. So he was like, I can come in on like the fun, creative stuff, but he's like, you're going to probably have to manage a lot of the back end stuff with the wedding. It's like, no problem. I used to be a wedding planner. I've got my budgets. It's fine. So I kept my spreadsheet and would track every quote and expense that we got. And so I was tracking everything so we could know where we were at budget. And about a week or two before the wedding, we're getting some final payments through. So we're like, let's go on a date night. And let's cut all the checks we need to check. And let's go through the budget, make sure we've got everything done, see where we're at in the budget. And so we're going through it. And Tom's like, how are we doing? And I was like, we actually came in under budget. And he was like, that's amazing. Let me see. And he pulls up the spreadsheet and he's looking at it. And he's like, I don't think you added this whole row up, Monica. And I was like, what? It turns out I only had half the line items summed up in the bottom. So he selected the whole thing and then redid the sum. He's like, Monica, you tripled the budget. And I was like, I'm going to need another martini. So
what I would give to see like the security camera of the restaurant that night.
Like, it was
just to see that.
I think I looked more appalled than he does because I was just like, I'm so organized until I'm not.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those things I was like, oh
I'm
my
under
God.
budget. Like, we are crushing this thing.
I could not have been more wrong. I was so appalled that it was literally like, we need another round of drinks to deal with this because I am not prepared to cope with this information right now. And the wedding is in 7 days. And so that was something that it was just like, now it's a running joke. Alex doesn't do spreadsheets.
Tom does the spreadsheets.
I'm a creative director, not a CFO, okay?
Oh my gosh. We talked about specifically with planners, but when you're talking about this part of the process, the wedding planning process in general, towards other brides and grooms, people getting married, going through the same process, what advice would you give them, or what do you wish that you did differently at this part in the process?
Well, have your husband cross-check your spreadsheet when you're budgeting, first of all. I would say, first of all, cost-wise, Genuine advice, I would expect everything to cost 3 times more than you think it's going to, because you do, in a really nice way, you do get caught up in things, and you do start making decisions. You're like, "Well, if all my loved ones are in one room, like, I think a hat maker on site would be awesome."
Would be
And
incredible.
that was one of the best last minute things that we added in. It was, like, obviously not a necessity, but everyone talks about the hat maker that we had on site. Like, that was, like, everyone's favorite takeaway. People still have their cowboy hats all over the world.
I love
So,
it.
just the budget is gonna be more than you think, so plan for that.
Yeah.
Um, and then I would say another thing, again, this goes into the kind of the budget and logistics part of things, is a lot of vendors want their payment leading, like, the week leading up to the wedding. And I would say, like, from the week leading up to the wedding, you're actually so busy being a bride and seeing friends and family coming in town, and you're so busy with everything else and beauty treatments and all the fun parts that Tom and I got really caught up having to sit down every night before we did anything fun to be like, okay, emails, deposits, payments. Oh, get this check cut. And that was actually a lot more work than we thought it was going to be. So I would speak to your vendors about getting final payments in up to 2 months before the wedding, as long as you
Yeah.
trust them, obviously. But I do
Yeah.
think that getting those payments over with so that the week of, you're not thinking about money or logistics or getting deposits in or having to pay this person or pay that person. That would have been something that I would go back and redo so that that was just out
Yeah.
of sight, out of mind by the time the week comes around. And then, like I kind of mentioned, I had a bit of a breakdown the morning of the wedding, mainly because I was so excited. And by the way, excitement is the same chemical in your brain as stress. It's cortisol. So your body takes on excitement as if it's stress. And I was so excited about everything. I was obviously in such a good place. All my friends and family in one room, my husband of 8 years, like amazing wedding planner, amazing team. And I had a breakdown the morning of. I couldn't physically get out of bed because I had not eaten enough and I had so much stress basically because of the excitement. And so eat well. And but one of the things Krista did to save my life is she called in a drip on the morning of
Yeah.
the wedding. So
I
I had it
remember.
in my arm. So I'm supposed to be in hair and makeup, and Tom has a picture of me like dead in bed getting an IV. And that saved my life. That is the only way that I was able to get into a satin ball gown in the Texas countryside heat and walk down an aisle in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And then I was able to, like, obviously have the best day of my life, and everything was incredible. And my energy levels were through the roof because of whatever they put in that. Like, that was
I was going to
incredible.
say there was a significant difference pre-trip
Massive.
and
You saw
post-trip
it.
for that morning. I was there. There was like
Yeah, it was a dark morning. People were really
the
concerned that
tides
I was
change. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so we've got, if I can find a photo or video of just me, like, in bed, dead to the world, and then me at, like, 4 AM on the porch with, like, a bottle of champagne, it's very, very different, drastic difference.
Oh yeah.
So health is obviously, brides are dieting and getting into their fittest, most,
Yeah.
the slimmest that they can to fit into the dress. There's so much, not pressure for that, but there's just a lot of work that goes into that. And I do think the excitement can kind of get the best of you. So remember to eat, because that is actually really important. Hydration and food keeps you alive.
Yeah.
And then I think Tom and I also did a really good job of this. But I do think it can be, if you're maybe like more high stress or more caught up in the details, I think it can be very easy to let the little moments get away from you. And this is where, like, you and Krista and Gracie were really great, is we scheduled in the downtime and we scheduled in the moments so that we could be present, and that, Tom and I didn't have to think about doing this and doing that and being here and being there. Like, y'all literally we'd be like drinking and talking to our friends, and we get swept away and be like, "Hey guys, do y'all want a moment alone? The sun is setting. It's really pretty." We're like, "Yeah, we'd love a moment alone." Getting to, like, have a moment where we could just be still and soak it in and not stress about having to be anywhere or do anything. And kind of that realization is like, it's our day. We can do whatever the heck we want.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And those sunset pictures, that was one of me and Tom's favorite moments of the days, because we're just alone with a glass of champagne, getting to just be present and reflect on, the ceremony and how beautiful the day was and how special everything was. And then, getting to be kind of taken away to change our outfits and having another moment alone and getting to kind of be like, okay, we're getting towards the end of the night. Let's enjoy the last little bit of it and be present, because it's so easy to get swept away in the day. And I think if we didn't have those, like, little moments and check-ins that you guys facilitated, it could have we would have blinked and it would have been, 12:30 and everyone would have been leaving. We'd been like, oh my God, we just got.
Wait, what happened? What happened?
Yes. I think it's like taking this, like Ross on Friends, I think. Phoebe on Friends, I can't remember. But it's like mental picture, click,
Click.
So yeah, I think it's remembering to take those mental pictures and providing, that in your schedule, putting that in your schedule so that you do have those moments and you have people helping to make sure that you have a second to be still and soak it all up.
Yeah. Monica, those are really good and incredibly practical.
Yeah, yeah.
You prepared ahead of time. Those are really
I'm
amazing.
always prepared, except
Always
when it comes to
prepared,
budgeting. Yeah.
except Excel
Yeah.
spreadsheets.
Except Excel spreadsheets. Don't ask me to do
My
it.
gosh. Let's talk about fashion.
Let's talk about fashion. My fashion career journey ties actually into my wedding fashion journey. So I'll tell you a little bit about, we kind of left off when I moved to Singapore.
Yeah.
So actually, let's bring it back to Dallas. I started
Bring it
my
back.
career at D Magazine. And like I said, my dream was to be a creative director at a lifestyle publication. I was namely obsessed with D weddings. And
Yeah.
so I got a job as the receptionist at D Magazine. And I went to the departments, like, what do you need help with? What can I sit in on? And so I sat in on the creative direction meetings. I sat in on the shoots. I provided free blogs for them. I was like, I'll go to this event, I'll take pictures and I'll blog about it. So I did everything that I could to kind of get my foot in the door there and make sure like I could start getting published and, start being involved in that industry. And long story short, I was with an ex that we decided to move to his home in Canada, which was not ideal because I was leaving my dream job at D Magazine, which was kind of just like, oh, I was like right where I wanted to be. And so when I moved to Canada, I wanted to continue that journey and I started a wedding planning business. And so I started doing freelance weddings here and there, ended up buying some rentals and doing rentals with my wedding planning services and partnering with, other amazing vendors and venues. And I worked a lot I did a lot of weddings at the Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise, which was one of the most beautiful locations ever.
Wow.
And so I got this like crazy awesome experience of getting to do these fabulous weddings in Banff in Canada.
Yeah.
And me and my ex obviously are not together anymore. So we ended things and I ended up selling the business. So there's another wedding planner that was starting off that bought everything from me and bought my clients. And so it's kind of this like perfect little trade-off where I kind of got to leave and get back to Texas. And life happened and I moved to Singapore. And when I moved out here, it's kind of this fresh start. And I knew that I really wanted to run my own business again. So I started a clothing line that was essentially Singapore is very hot and humid if you don't know much about it. It is like living in a steam room. And so, you're kind of like going to work and you're all sweaty and gross. Like the second you step outside, it's like a sauna. And so I started creating clothes that were made out of like performance material, like stuff that was good for the tropical climate. And that eventually evolved into my clothing brand Sette, where I started making resort wear made from natural materials, sourced in Bali, produced in Bali as well. And so as a solopreneur, I'm doing literally everything. I got out my sewing machine and I have like an amateur experience in it. So it's like, let's get good at this again. And so I started designing and sampling my own pieces. And then I started taking all those samples to Bali, doing all the sourcing there. I found a production team there. And so I started this clothing line essentially out of Singapore and Bali and doing all my shoots and managing all the creative direction and all that stuff. So all the kind of the fun stuff that I love doing that
It's
I think I
incredible.
skill set at, but it's a lot also like doing everything from design and production to the creative and the shoots to the marketing and the retail and the pop-ups. And so I grew a really great like customer base here in Singapore through the pop-ups, but pop-ups again are very demanding. You're physically there at these massive shows for days and days on end. Really good for me as the founder to be there and see customers wearing my stuff. And anyway, so that's kind of like the rhythm that I was in.
Yeah.
And when I started planning the wedding, I love fashion. And so I was going to be very particular about what I was going to wear. And I went to a bunch of bridal shops, tried on tons of dresses. And nothing was like the vision that I had in my head. And all these dresses I thought, like, golly lahava, I was trying on like the best of the best. And even these dresses, I was like, it's just not right. And through the industry in Singapore, I ended up meeting this couture wedding dress designer, Elizabeth Grace. And we kind of connected and started chatting. I had her make a different dress for me for something else. And I saw her work and I was like, oh, this is actually really good. And so I approached her and we talked about co-designing a dress together for the wedding weekend. And I had this vision where I was like, okay, I know multiple dresses are a thing and I definitely want multiple looks. And the wedding weekend is 3 days long. And so I was like, I envision this very similar aesthetic, but I don't like the idea of changing from like one dress to a drastically different dress. Like, at least for my vision, I knew that I wanted this like dress to be different, but like almost evolve through the night. And so
Yeah.
I was like, this ceremony, I can see myself in something very princessy and like long sleeve, high neck, ball gown. I was like, but then through the evening, like for dinner, I want to be more comfortable and I want it to be more like sensual. So I can see it kind of like tapering down. And then for the party dress, I want like a cute little mini and some gloves. And I'd like design this choker with her. And so we created this just evolving dress basically that was multiple pieces, but each piece looked like a dress, which I loved. It didn't look like separates. And so we had like the greatest time designing this dress. And it was so unique and different. And like, fashion has obviously caught up, but when we started this design, like, it did not exist anywhere. There was absolutely nothing like it. There was nothing in those, like, champagne-y tones. There was nothing with underlays and appliques like we were doing at the time. And so that was really interesting to see, like, as we designed this, like, really like, we couldn't find anything on Pinterest for our inspiration. It was literally like we had to create it out of nothing.
Out of nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, I think, kind of unique. And so that's where we were kind of like, okay, this is special because, like, look what's happening in Vogue now. And by the time my wedding came around, there was like a Vogue cover, a Vogue wedding cover. There was something kind of similar to my dress. I was like, I think we're onto something. Like, I really feel like this is like crazy that like this Vogue, like cutting edge of fashion is doing a dress similar to mine. We were operating in these silos. And then we both came out with like this kind of really cool aesthetic. And so I was like, I
Yeah.
think we have a good eye for, what's trending here. Once we finished that whole like dressmaking process, and obviously we got the wedding photos back, everything is beautiful. The dress was just my dream dress. We get back to Singapore and I remember that process was like, oh, this feels like me. This feels like a bit of me. And I remember kind of mourning the end of that process and being like, oh, it's just misdesigning these dresses. And like, it was so good working with her because I have like a lot of the creative vision and I have like a lot of the trend forecasting. And Elizabeth has like, she's got her London atelier experience. She's a very skilled tailor. She's got an incredible sourcing ability. She's got an incredible tailoring team here in Singapore. She's been doing this for 10 years here. And
Yeah.
so she was able to bring this whole different skill set to the table that I didn't have. And seeing us work together was like magic. And so when I came back, I remember being a bit blue and she reached out to me again and was like, I want to talk to you about something. And she pitched the idea of doing wedding party dresses with the couture artistry that she had been doing for her gowns, but party dresses. And I thought that was really interesting because over the past few years, wedding fashion has exploded and
Yeah.
it's become something people are a lot more intentional about. And people are getting more and more particular about what they want for all the different looks for their wedding. And, they're getting less and less okay with, kind of a below average quality revolve dress. Like people are starting to realize the quality in fashion especially when it comes to bridal, because that's everyone's like most important week of their life. And they're wanting these looks to like hold up in photos and become these like sentimental mementos that they can keep with them. And so we had this idea like, this modular bridal wear that we came up with was really cool because it lived throughout the wedding weekend for me and I was able to wear it multiple ways and I can still wear some of those pieces. And then bringing her like English precision with my Texan drama, we're like, this is something really unique because we're both bringing something so different to the table to create something so special. And so that's where like the couture quality, the heirloom quality, that idea was like, this is something different. Like we're not going to be competing with Revolve. Like we're going to be competing with other bridal designers who haven't ventured into party wear yet. They're focused on the gowns. And so
Yeah.
that's what our idea was. And we ended up coming up with the brand West of Sloane. And if you don't know, Sloane Street is a big shopping, like luxury shopping street in London. It's very famous. And she worked off of Sloane Street for her career when she first started. And it actually happens to be the square that Tom and I met up on when we met up for that one day in London. And so we like have all these sentimental things and it's like a name we talked about using for our,
No way.
and so it's just a special spot. And so I was like, everyone's really into this whole Western fashion, and Texas and country is becoming like such a hot topic globally when it comes to fashion and arts and culture. And so we're like, everyone's doing this really refined bridal look. Everything's very refined. And we want to do something a little west of that. And so that's where West of Sloane.
Monica, holy cow, that's incredible. When are we going to start to get to see things from
Well,
West of
our
Sloan?
samples are done for our first collection, and they are just beyond. I'm so excited about
Oh my
them. So
gosh.
we're getting those shot in the next couple weeks here. So we're working on just finalizing all the campaign imagery. And so we're hoping by the end of May, everything is ready to go live. So
Oh my gosh,
that's
that's coming
kind
up
of the time.
fast.
Yeah, I know. So we're so excited because I think the idea started after the wedding, and we really got started in January when we kind of got back from Christmas. And so it's been a busy few months, but this just feels like it all feels like kismet. Like I had the wedding in
Yeah.
Texas. My Irish English bridal designer happens to fall in. She came to the wedding. We ended up becoming close friends over the dress design process. So she was at the wedding and she fell in love with Texas and saw the people and the fashion. It was just like, oh my gosh, you people are next level over here. And so that was where she was like, hey, like, I think there's something here. And I agreed completely. And so I feel like this is, I guess, the next evolution of what I'm doing, which is great timing right now with the baby on the way. I mean, I'm 6 months pregnant now. So it's very much like it's a good time for new beginnings. So
It's a whole new Monica again. My
yeah.
gosh. This is so exciting. This is my first time hearing
Yeah.
about it. This is so cool.
Yeah, we're very excited. The styles I think are going to resonate really well. I find really interesting that's so different than the rest of the world, which I don't think what you really realize when you live in the South and you live in Texas. Southern style is so unique. Like we love drama. We are not scared of drama, even especially when it comes to prints and patterns and ruffles and sleeves. Like volume does not scare us, which I think Elizabeth found really interesting when she came to Dallas. She's like, "Oh my gosh!" She's like, "Y'all are like loud in the best way." And in other parts of the world, especially like we spend a lot of time in Europe for my husband's work. It's very understated. It's definitely like maybe like in Switzerland and the UK, it's a bit more like old quiet luxury. Everything's more muted and neutral and sleek and understated, and that's kind of the style. And like while there's merit to that for sure, I think something really unique is just how we're in the South so unafraid of the drama, and that's something Elizabeth loved. And Southern fashion is so different than like LA and New York. And like, we don't actually show a lot of skin. Like, we are pretty conservative when it comes to, I think we learned the rule of three growing up. You've got legs, arms, and chest, and you got to pick one. You can't show them all. So you could wear like long sleeves and a mini dress, but you can't wear short sleeve mini dress and cleavage. You got your poison there. And I think that actually, like, when you do
No
look at
one
it,
taught me this rule. I don't know
oh, yeah, it's
why.
a very important rule.
I
But
grew
when
up
you
on the
look
West
through it,
Coast though, so it must be a
gosh,
Southern thing. Yeah,
there
it's
were
got
no
to be
rules
that.
over there.
No, no, no.
But when you look through it with that lens, you can kind of see like we have something called like Southern class, right? We've got the whole debutante scene. We've got this Dallas society. Like you are not showing up into skimpy dresses in these. And I think that plays through our whole like fashion culture, especially where I'm from in Dallas. And what I love about it is like the ability to have a little bit of conservatism in the dressing so that you don't have everything out for everyone to see. Like when you're wearing like people are picking their rehearsal dinner dresses or hens dresses, bachelorette party dresses or after party dresses. And they're not these skimpy little things that you're seeing all over Instagram right now. And so that was an interesting take that we both saw. And like, obviously, London style is very classic, kind of like that royal, Kate Middleton kind of very tailored kind of look. And so there's that edge of things. And then there's this Texan drama. And I think we have a lot of similarity in kind of like just the class and I don't want to use the word modesty because I don't think that's the right word, but I think how like having sort of this like classy fashion where not
Yeah.
everything has to be displayed for everyone to see. And so that's kind of a rule that we're taking into our brand DNA is that we want these fun, fabulous, flashy party dresses, but we want them to feel classy and classic at the same time. So it has that timeless kind of almost Grace Kelly feel, but you still have the drama. So you don't have to be this like super understated, very, very like boring, simple, sleek, you know,
Blend into the wall kind of. Yeah.
exactly. But you can have this drama with still kind of having this classic feel to it. And it can still be this like standout party dress. But I think where this plays in really well to like the wedding scene is like that kind of is for weddings. You are not necessarily wearing like this skimpy little party dress in front of your grandmother and in front of your mother-in-law. I'm not saying you can't. It's like if you want to do that, great. But I'm saying a lot of people typically will want something slightly more conservative and slightly more classic when it comes to their wedding fashion choices. What we wanted to play into is because we're not coming into the market to be another party dress brand. And we're also not coming into the market to be another bridal gown brand. We are coming in to be this for the specific bridal moments and create these pieces that you're going to have pictures of for years to come, but are still for the more party parts of the weekend. You know, people are doing welcome parties, the bachelorette parties, the rehearsal dinner dresses, the after party dresses, even getting ready in the morning kind of stuff. Like people have all these different looks throughout the bridal weekend that aren't necessarily just bridal gowns and aren't necessarily just party dresses. And that's where we wanted to kind of hit that sweet spot.
My gosh. It's so cool. I can't believe we don't have visuals to look at right now because I'm so excited to see what you're dreaming up and what you're teasing and what you're talking about right now, Monica.
Yeah,
'Cause this is
so I will have
incredible.
images soon, so I will send them to you when I do have them, but also, if you're not following me, follow me because I will be posting pictures of you happening.
Which is that the best way to find out more about it? Do we follow you personally? Is there a brand
Yeah, so
social
you
we
can
should
follow
follow?
me at Monica Millington, or you can also follow the brand, which we are not active on yet because we're waiting on our content, but it is gonna
Yep.
be at West of Sloan.
I love it.
Slane, like
Which
Sloan
we'll have
Square.
those links in the comments, like Sloan
Yeah,
Square, which I
yeah,
now know about. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I now know
exactly.
about.
A lot of my background is in branding, and I always say, like, you know, it's like finding your soulmate. You know when you know, and it's like, if it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like it's completely right, it's not the right one. And so we went over all the possible names like a million times, and for me, it's so important to not be another, Lovers and Lace or what it's just like another refined bridal brand. I was like, I don't want to be this another refined classic brand. I was like, I want
Yeah.
to tell the story in the name. I want it to be different. I want people to wonder what it is when they hear the name, but also when they know what it is, I want that to make so much sense. So I was like, it has to tell this whole story in like the shortest way possible. And it was literally like we went over thousands of names and thousands of ideas. And one day I just woke up. I was like, it's West of Sloan. I just knew. I just woke up and that was the name. There's no question about it. And when I brought it to Elizabeth, she's like, that's the name. That was
That's
just
it. It
meant
was
to be.
perfect, which it
Yeah.
is. It's perfect.
There's so much storytelling to tell with each piece and everything that's coming out. So yeah, stay
Oh my
tuned for
gosh. Stay tuned. I can't wait. Monica, as we're kind of starting to get wrapped up here, I was wondering if you'd be up for sharing maybe some honest takeaways with brides, with grooms as they're planning their wedding, planning content, balancing, wanting to get the right shots with also just wanting to enjoy their people and enjoy their day. Would love just honest takeaways from you for that.
Yeah. First and foremost, I think the best reminder is that it's your day. It's you and your husband's day, you and your partner's day. You can make it whatever you want. There are no rules. And I think you kind of come into it being like, oh, we've got to do this. We got to do the bridal party. We got to do the shower. We got to do this. You don't have to do any of that. And that is something that we really played into, especially planning it 8 years down the line and from so far away. We were very much like, this is our day. Like, we're not going to do this just because, my mom wants to do this or just because this is how things are done. So for
Yeah.
us, we didn't want the stress. We've both been in bridal parties before. We don't particularly love the experience. And it is a lot of work being, a part of someone else's special day, and it's such an honor as well. But for us, with this, I was like, I want everyone coming, every single person coming to be on vacation. So I was like,
Yeah.
we knew we were not interested in doing a bridal party. I didn't want any drama or hierarchy of we have to have 7 people because you're having 7 people, and here's the special people and here's the not special people. So for us, that didn't sit right. So that was something we nixed. A bunch of first dances, we didn't want to do that. That it's not fun for us to have scheduled fun. We just wanted to have this amazing dinner party with all of our best friends and drink on the dance floor. And so we had our dance, which we loved. That was really fun for us to do together and to learn our dance.
Yeah.
There's no obligation of, okay, now we got to do the mother-son dance, and now we got to do the father-daughter dance, and now we got to do this. And so we didn't have all these things scheduled in that we actually didn't want to do. And even our
Yeah.
cake, we weren't interested in really doing a big cake. We wanted a different dessert. we wanted our favorite milk and cookies from our favorite restaurant in Singapore. So we did that recipe with our caterer, and that made us happy. We did a little cake for a cake cutting, and it was, for us, it was like, I don't care about this. We'll get a cute picture. And that's literally, I do not want people gathered around me while we're cutting the cake. And so we cut out all these traditions that didn't really apply to us, which freed up our day to do things that we actually did want to do, which for me was bring out sparklers in a tequila cart and make everyone take tequila shots. That was more important to me than a wedding day.
Priorities. Yeah. The
Exactly.
obvious priorities.
Yeah, so we got to do all of the stuff that meant something to us. And then another thing that I thought was really smart on our part is everyone was coming in from out of town. So we knew people would probably be coming for a couple more days than you would normally do for just like a weekend wedding. So
Yeah.
we had our welcome party on the Thursday night because that's when most people were landing anyways. And I was like, I want people to feel like they can go as wild as they want on the Thursday. I don't want anyone worried about being tired or hungover on the wedding day, especially myself. And so it was like, let's have Thursday as our big like hoorah, everyone gets too excited and drinks a little bit too much. And then we've got Friday all day to recover. And we had a very quiet, intimate family rehearsal dinner. And it was just dinner with like our closest friends and family. It was 30 people maximum. And that way we were well rested for the wedding day. And we didn't have the stress of we can't have that extra margarita because we don't want to ruin the wedding day kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I think it was really nice getting to do things a little bit in a different order than I think some people do.
Smart.
Yeah. Don't do tradition for tradition's sake. Like do what works for you guys and what will make you guys happy. It's your weekend. There are no rules. And it comes to what you spend money on as well. Like if you don't find a lot of value in paper invitations, we did because it was black tie and I felt the need to have physical invitations and I wanted to set the mood. We had little wildflowers sprinkled in our invitations. So we wanted to kind of create the experience then. But you also, if you don't want to spend money on that, you absolutely do not have to. That is something you can send an invite and everyone's just as happy to be there. So yeah, I think, follow your own rules and spend money where you want to spend money because it's literally your day and you don't have to follow a template. And then when it comes to content, I would say one of the best things my job is being on my phone a lot. Like I literally have thumb muscles from how much I'm on my phone doing Instagram and editing photos and everything. So it's like my luxury for the wedding weekend was not having to touch my phone. I was like, I don't want to look at it. I do not want to be taking pictures, which is so against my nature because I like to capture everything. So for me, a big part of like the content side of things was hiring people that I could trust to take care of all of that. And so for me, I saw massive value in high quality video production with you. I saw massive quality in hiring Gracie and you for the 3 days so that it wasn't just the wedding day. So the whole weekend I didn't have to touch my phone. So that was like incredible. I really got to be present. It was like the only time in my life where I've really just not looked at my phone, not worried about, am I going to get a cute picture? Am I going to remember this? And I just got to relax and be present. And that was so unbelievably special. And then we also hired Somi, a content creator.
Yeah.
And she was there for 2 of the days. And she took all the iPhone content that, in the me being me and, being everything is content. She got to be that version of myself that was capturing the BTS and getting kind of raw iPhone footage so that I would have extra stuff to work with, which I loved, getting to do some of my content with and getting to share the story without having to think about it. So I got to brief Somi beforehand, like, here's what I want for iPhone content. And that again was one of the biggest luxuries, is not having to think anything about it and having everything captured for me. And so, yeah, that was, again, because part of my job is content creation. I'm always like, I want to take every opportunity, and especially such an important time in my life, I want to capture and remember as well. You can come in. Oh no, he's in a towel. He can't come in. Tom just got home, but I don't think you want to see him.
Tom, come through. I'll edit out this part. Hi, Tom. I'll edit it out.
Hello.
This is
How are you?
Flex your muscles. Show off.
Like, is it on camera?
Yeah.
Whoa, look at you.
I'm
so
sorry. I'm intruding on the podcast. She takes my study and my wardrobe.
My study. It's
her
mine.
study about it.
Yeah.
Tom, we've been talking about you for a full hour now.
Like good stuff or bad stuff or
both. A little bit of both.
Okay,
the
fine.
best stuff. Tom, it's good to see you, man.
All of him.
How are you?
I'm really good, actually. It was one hell of a come down from October anyway, because
Yeah.
obviously we were on such a high. So generally speaking, we're just being kind of just. I mean, a family holiday felt tiny compared to what we did in
I
October,
know,
wasn't it?
I know.
But I didn't
It's
obviously thank you
wild.
so much for all your help, all your amazing work, all
Oh
your
my
videos.
God. It
You
was,
you you have an astonishingly good eye to
Yeah.
capture the
It was
the right
so
scene.
fun to rewatch. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you got a
my
you got
God,
a very
thank you. Well, you guys spoiled me rotten. So it was seriously, I enjoyed every second of being there for
uh,
it. So thank you for
wonderful.
saying that.
Oh my God, no,
It was
you went above and beyond. I mean, Monica kind of told me about you before. Obviously, we kind of like, well, before I got to know you, and just seeing kind of like, I think you were so comfortable to be around, but
Yeah.
which obviously like number one, because like you made us feel relaxed. But like then like
good.
when the video kind of came, I was like, oh
It was so
shit,
good. Yeah.
that isn't like there. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's been one.
That means the world. Thank you.
I,
My gosh. I'm so glad I got to see Tom.
All of
I
him.
know. Yeah, just
All
Tom
of him. Showing all the skin. Well, I forget where exactly we left off on that story, but Monica, as you're talking about briefing Somi and just being off your phone for the wedding and the heart, because we had a couple meetings beforehand for what you wanted for video and how you wanted it to be different than what Somi was capturing with content and what Gracie was leaning in towards. And I'm just really impressed by your intentionality that you had going into the wedding for planning the content, what you wanted it to feel like for guests, what you wanted it to feel like for you. And also really impressed. I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm hearing so many stories from you on this call that I had no idea about. The intentionality you have with your business and you have with Tom and you have with your family. And I don't know. I think it's another superpower of yours. It's so cool. And I got to see it pay off big time at the wedding and being part of the team. And I don't know. Just thank you for sharing so much. I leave inspired from this podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, I love storytelling. That's one of my biggest passions in life. And you were chosen because you helped facilitate that storytelling in the most incredible way. And so it's like if people can get on your Instagram and watch the Millington wedding content, it does just the best job of capturing the energy and the story of the weekend. And even that like 1 minute teaser video, I watched 1,000 times afterwards, which I know every bride and groom says because it's just fun to watch yourself, but
It's the
it
funnest.
really was like the way you that weekend and the excitement and the energy and the special touches. And, we put so much into the storytelling and the details, and you saw all that and you captured it. And so now we get to relive that, which there's so much magic in that. And that's the investment that you make when you hire videography, because I think a lot of people are like, oh, no, content's so expensive, I'm just going to get a photographer. And I'm the first person to be like, do not skimp on a videographer. Like, you are paying for this huge, important day. You might as well be able to remember it for the rest of your life. And that is so true, because we watch the video all the time, and it's going to be something, for the rest of our lives. We watch every year. Our children are going to get to watch. And that is such a gift, because we are the generation that's growing up with content, right? Our parents didn't have this level of content. And so we only have a few old pictures and home videos to watch where our parents were this age. And we have we're living this crazy world where our children and grandchildren are going to get to essentially watch us live. And, having our wedding so beautifully captured to where it looks like a movie, like a professional production, is just, I think, one of the best services we did ourselves.
Oh my gosh, Monica, I thank you. That means the world. Thank you.
I really mean it.
Well, that's everything. That's the podcast. Monica, I know it's crazy with one kid and a kid on the way and starting a business and living on the other side of the world to make this happen. I really appreciate it. This was so fun.
Oh, it was my pleasure and honor to be on here. I'm so glad you asked me.
Oh my gosh.
I'm always down for a little yap session. We haven't been able to talk like this in so long. We need something else to play.
Anytime. We'll need to have you back. Maybe
Yeah.
yap some more.
I say if you don't like this music, you don't be listening to it, I'm just a dude that or something similar. If you don't keep it real, then you go somewhere but here, cause we're only losing control just for a minute.
Monica, thank you so much for coming on. That was incredible. We talked about so many things. Don't forget to check the show notes if you're looking for any links, looking to follow any of the people we talked about. And as always, I'm going to give the simple plug. If you're listening to this, I'd love to connect with you. I'd love to know who's listening, what you think, what you like, what you don't like. We've never done an episode like this. I would love to hear what you think about it. What were your takeaways? Should we keep doing this? Should we do more of this? Should we keep scattering it in? I'd love to hear what you're thinking. Slide into the DMs on Instagram, shoot me an email. We have a website now. You can go on the website and drop a line there. But I'd love for you to reach out. I'd love for you to help contribute and guide what we're doing here at the Texas Wedding Podcast.